you've been talking of late a lot about the Maratha question, right? And you say in your pieces that it is contractualization, it is privatization, globalization, liberalization, which has contributed to this. I'll let you talk about that for a bit, and I'll bring you back to the actual question I want to ask. But what is this reading that has got a lot of people in Maharashtra very interested in your work? How have you analyzed the Maratha agitation? Can you talk about that first?
Sure. I think I'll start with this very interesting paradox that you stated, which is it a Maratha caste question or is it a class question?
Yeah.
And I think this is a very interesting question to be understood, because that's what also explains several kind of dominant caste movements in this country. Of course, the regional factors would vary, and
Give
I will
examples as you go along.
yeah.
For
Of-
example,
for example, the Patidars in Gujarat, Jats in Haryana. Recently, your journalist did a very interesting story on Kapus in
Kapu reservations.
Andhra Pradesh. So you have different dominant castes. So as far as Maharashtra is concerned, the Marathas are the dominant castes. And due to their superior social position, they have managed to exploit also the best paid job opportunities in the urban areas. And best paid opportunities also for those who were little or less educated, and also those who were decently educated. So all of them had exploited these opportunities in the employment sector. But one thing I must state here is that the overall share of what we consider as good employment, whether it's in the private sector or the government sector, has been extremely low. It has never went beyond 8-9% in the entire history of our country. So what has happened is that, of course, there is globalization, there is economic liberalization that happened in the 1990s, and which also saw the privatization of several government sector enterprises. We also saw the closure of several government colleges. You also saw now the closure of government schools. So all of these processes have also made things
Contributed to this.
contributed to the crisis. But what has happened here is that the moment the government decided to privatize the industries, you don't have those jobs anymore, government jobs, number one. Second thing,
So it has hit a dominant politically influential community.
Yes.
A landed dominant politically influential community has
Very
been hit by
yeah.
this.
So because they were the biggest beneficiaries of the secured jobs in this country,
Of the formal sector.
of what is the considered as the formal sector, and within formal sector, the formal conditions of employment. So the biggest beneficiaries of these jobs have been the upper caste and the dominant caste. Here the caste and class come together. So the first part here is that yes, the companies have been privatized or they have been completely shut down, which gave you the best employment. Second part is the government employment has been contractualized, which means the government is not hiring people on permanent basis but on contractual basis, which means the wages are extremely low and the conditions are extremely exploitative. It is a class question. Actually, contractualization is happening and people are now being left with little option but to go into what is considered as the informal sector, which has low payment, more than stipulated working hours, no social security benefits. Now, where does caste come into this?
Exactly, yeah.
The caste comes here because if historically the upper caste and dominant caste have benefited like a lion's share of the well-paid employment, then obviously they are the ones who also had to bear the brunt of that particular process. So while every community is technically facing that brunt, but because they had taken over the lion's share, in their own view, they feel that they are the ones who have lost out. And therefore, they feel that something ought to be done. And then what ought to be done is then they need a secure jobs. And where are the secure jobs? Are only in the government sector. And it is this reason that the community, that particular dominant caste community, they feel that they should actually go for reservation. Because according to them, this is what going to solve their problem. But they are not taking into account the fact that what exactly proportion of jobs are left in the government sector, and will that really fulfill their demand?